Here's the other thing. Oh, we forgot to talk about Rey. So, we talked about the things about her being Luke's daughter or not. Mm-hmm. So does Han know who she is? Because
I get the feeling that he knows something. Yeah.
And they cut. And that cut was so telling. So who's the girl? Cut. You're like, oh.
Yeah, there's something. He was aware in some way, shape, or form.
So Leia is aware.
Yeah, we think. Well, see, the way that I kind of explained away the whole like Chewie and them don't hug, but she goes and hugs her is because obviously they're both some way or another Force aware, so they could kind of sense something. But it just seemed awkward when we were talking about that earlier. But yeah, I think people know who she is or know of her, or certain people know something.
Yeah,
and even Kylo, he's kind of like when they first say with a girl, he's all like, that's when he goes whoosh, and goes, what girl? Yeah. And he gets all, so he seems to almost, maybe he doesn't know her because then when he's got her back in the ship and she's all like tied up or whatever, he doesn't make it seem like he knows her then. But something, there's something there.
When he first sees her, the girl I've heard so much about.
Yeah, but you could say that that's because of all this chasing around trying to get Finn and all that and the droid.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I feel like people know something more about her and we're going to find it out. I just don't think it's going to be that she's Luke's daughter.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the other thing about Chewie. Did we know that crossbow was so strong?
Yeah. Han didn't seem to know.
Had he shot that crossbow ever in any other movie?
He has a crossbow in the other movies, but it's a different version. It shoots differently.
Yeah.
Because I remember being like, why don't I remember that? And it seems like that whole, like, the way Han took it that one time was like, I like this gun. I was like, is that a callback that I'm not getting?
No, he had the crossbow in Return of the Jedi, I'm pretty sure. But it was a different model, I think.
The action figures always came with a crossbow, but I never remember noticing it in the movies like I did in this one.
Yeah, they made a deal about it. That's why.
Yeah, they did. They definitely did.
Even before they made a deal out of it, though, for some reason, it really stood out more when he would use it. And it's a lot stronger now. But
I like the other thing, and I don't know if anybody caught this. I mean, I bet a million people caught this, but I don't know exactly what it is. It's just my guess. When Finn's patching him up, he's going through a bag of stuff, and he picks up an orb, and he looks at it, and he tosses it.
Yeah.
Was that Luke's training orb?
Yeah, it was.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah.
Yep. So the one that's going.
Yeah.
Yep. That was it.
Oh, great. Was it? That's excellent that it was sitting there on the Millennium Falcon in a pile of junk.
Yeah, it was, because it just shows you it's like this. It's like all the history is there, and then okay, we've got to talk about like, so when the first, like when they're on Jakku and they're running, and they're like, we're going to that quad jumper, and it blows up, and he says, no, that's a piece of junk, and then you swoop over that piece of junk. I was like, the piece of junk is the Falcon, of course.
That was the most brilliant first wink, like huge, like that happened in the movie. And it was funny watching it the second time. You actually see it when they run by.
Yeah, see, that was the thing that when I was watching it the second time, I told myself, I was like, I got to look and see if you can kind of catch a glimpse of it. And I forgot, and I kind of looked, I was like, I think you saw it.
Yeah,
but I wasn't sure.
Second, but you would have to be a keen eye to be as excited about watching the movie in this action sequence to be like, oh, there's a Millennium Falcon in the background.
Yeah.
But like, that's a piece of junk, and then they turn and get it. Oh my gosh. I was hitting people with my hat, like.
And the whole thing is it's like one of those things that when it happens, you're always like, I should have known what it was when they said piece of junk. I should have known. But it was so exciting. And when I watched the movie today the second time, so the theater wasn't completely filled when I was there. But all the middle area, like where I was sitting, was. And this guy and girl sat next to me, and I got the feeling that it was their first showing. They were actually the people that were in front of me. I usually don't get food or drinks at a movie, but I wanted to get a drink, and they were taking freaking forever, and I was getting annoyed with them. Like, oh my gosh, these guys! And then he walked away, and he had a Boba Fett shirt on. He goes, well, I'll let him go. And then he ended up sitting like one seat over from me. That seat was empty. Hilarious. But I could tell that they hadn't seen it because all the things where I would explode, and I knew it was coming. And then they would be like, oh, and they would laugh like whenever, at the very beginning, when Kylo's like, he cuts that guy, and Poe goes up and shoots, and he just goes poof, and just freezes that laser beam.
That thing was so sick.
And then this guy's all like, "Oh yeah!" And I was like, "Oh sweet!" So I'm gonna get to live it all like new again through this guy. Cool. And when they got to the Falcon, he was just like, "Oh my gosh, that's perfect!" Yeah, and it was just so awesome. Like I want to see it more times just to see new people seeing it again.
I know that's what was so great. The second time I went and saw it, with big fans of Star Wars that hadn't seen it, and I was like, "Yes."
Awesome. Was that when he sends BB-8 off, and in the very beginning, and he goes off into the desert, and a creature pops its head out?
Yeah.
Was that the same creature from the cantina? The very first time we're introduced to the cantina, creature
I felt like I recognized that creature, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
It looked familiar to me.
The exact same thing in one of the other movies.
Yeah.
The R2, like pop up and look at him as he goes by, and then it goes back down. And says
something. Yeah.
But that was definitely a callback.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, so we've talked about Chewie.
Okay. What about that ultimate supreme?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's two other characters. Newer characters you didn't talk about. One was
the hologram.
Was Snoke.
Yeah, Snoke.
Was he Snoke? The hologram was Snoke?
Yeah, Supreme Leader Snoke.
Okay, I didn't.
Phasma. We didn't talk about Phasma.
Phasma.
Okay.
Snoke. I didn't know that was a hologram at first, and I was like, "What is going on?" That there's this giant sitting in this chair.
Yeah.
And then when it revealed it was a hologram, I hoped that he's actually like this big.
Yeah.
Napoleon complex. Yeah. He's like, "Hey, when you show me though, I need to be big. I need to be the Wizard of Oz."
Yeah. So here's the thing with Snoke. Like, out of everybody, I want to know the most about him. I really want to know, one, who the heck he is, how he's, and the one thing that JJ was always like, and this is where my knowledge of Star Wars kind of goes down the tubes a little bit. It's like, okay, so you always assume when, I know you didn't because you weren't paying attention to any of it when it was coming out, but I was like, okay, so this is the new Sith Lord, Kylo Ren. And it's like, and then JJ comes out and goes, well, actually, Kylo's not a Sith.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so apparently this guy's not a Sith, but he's somebody very powerful and supreme leader and all knowing of the dark side. So it's like, well, so is a Sith just like a cult of the dark side?
Well,
and like, what is this guy and where the heck did he come from?
The movie, I think it's Maz who says it. It sounded like to me, it's all the same people with different names. And she said something about like, whether it's the Sith or the Empire or what you call now the New Order. And so it's like all these same people trying to get a leg up on the power of the universe and just have a bunch of different names. Because the Sith, to my understanding, is the same thing as like what Darth Vader would have been, is like people that could use the Force except used it for evil.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like that falls under the umbrella of the dark side. It's what it felt like Maz was saying to me, at least.
I just got from her comments was that there's always an evil that you've got to fight against. There's always one coming to power, but like I'm separating that like just the bad guys. Like I always looked at it as if you use the Force and you use it for good, you're a Jedi, which isn't really accurate because you know not everybody trains it. That's more of an actual order.
Leia wasn't a Jedi, right?
No, she wasn't. Well, but as far as we know, other than like just sensing things, we don't know that she ever used the Force. I don't know about all the comics and all that nerds out there that are watching and yelling at me right now. I'm not sure about that part.
Actually,
guys, there was that one time when Leia in issue 257, she said, and she went and Force choked. So I don't know about that, but for a while, when I was younger anyways, I always thought the Sith were like a race because they would talk about like, oh, the Sith, but they're extinct. No, they're not. And then I was like, wait, no. When I was like a little bit older, I was like, it can't be a race because Anakin was a Jedi, and then he turned to Darth Vader, so now he's a Sith. So it's like he didn't switch races. I mean,
right, exactly.
So I don't really know
light and dark and the cults that kind of came up under each side.
Yeah, I guess.
It kind of
think about what Kylo says to the Darth Vader mask is like, I feel the pull to the light.
Yeah.
Remind me of the power of the dark side. And so that's really the only constant is the light and the dark. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The whole hologram, I forgot his name again, Lord Supreme.
Snoke. S-N-O-K-E.
Snoke.
Like smoke, but with an N.
So Snoke kind of reminds me of the moment in Empire when I was a kid, and the guy walks in on Vader getting his helmet put on, and it's like, wait, what? That's a dude? What?
Yes.
It's kind of like a hint of what you'll get more later, but that's, so it kind of reminded me of that.
Trust me, that's all I could think about when I saw him is I was like, okay, that's not Vader. Just remember that's not Vader. That's not Vader. That's not Vader. Don't think that's Vader. That's not Vader. His face is deformed. It's not Vader. That's not Vader. That's not Vader. Like, that's what I had to think about the whole time because I was constantly thinking, like, wow, that's Vader. That's got to be Vader. I can't believe they brought Vader back. Will Vader be back? I don't think Vader will be back. Wait, is this a hologram or is this one of those ghosty things? You know what I'm saying? Because in the first three, that's how Vader shows up, and Obi-Wan shows up as a ghost, or an apparition or whatever. And so I was like, okay, just remind yourself that's not Vader, but he's a very powerful with the Force as well. How come? And why is he training Kylo after Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just there's so many questions about him that I just want to know. I want to know now.
What's this foot doing on this island? I'm just kidding. Was that let me ask you this. Was that a wink? Was that a J.J. Abrams wink to Lost? You can't sleep. You're so lonely. I see the ocean. I see the island.
I mean, I guess you could say that. I don't know. I didn't put those pieces together of the puzzle.
When he said that, I was like, oh, JJ.
One of the guys that I was with that had seen it before said that, was it Maz that said, I see you've been dreaming of an island to Rey?
Kylo says it.
Kylo says it, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he first starts using the Force on her to get out the map out of her head.
Right.
That's when he says it. He goes, oh, you can't sleep. I see the ocean. I see the island.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. So I just thought that was a wink. And considering that Miles from season 3 I was like, well, he was in Lost. I was like, that's nice.
Maybe.
But JJ does it a lot. I mean, that would be the smallest of winks, but it would just you put JJ Abrams and an island together at all.
Right.
I'm thinking Lost.
And what was the girl's name from Game of Thrones? That she's a female stormtrooper. She's the really tall blonde woman in Game of Thrones. You don't see her face in this.
What's her real name?
No. Captain Phasma.
Yes. Yeah. I want to see more of her.
That's the only complaint I heard was that people were mad that she wasn't in it more.
Yeah, well, my probably biggest complaint is with her, and it's not because she's not in it a lot, because we already knew she wasn't going to be in it much. Because people who read stuff knew she wasn't going to be in it much. All this
weed talk?
I knew she wasn't going to be in the movie much because she was Kathleen Kennedy, who's like the president of Lucasfilm, was saying she was very much making a point to be like, Phasma's going to show up in other movies. We've got plans for her. She's going to be there. And then somebody else came out and said something like, yeah, she's really, you can almost think of her as like a Boba Fett character. So that to me said she's not going to be showing up very much. Yeah, so I didn't expect her to be in the movie much. But what I didn't like about her not being, I mean, I didn't like that she wasn't in it very much. But then more than that, it's like every time she did not seem special at all. Other than the fact that she's got chrome armor. She's not doing anything special. She's like gives orders, but she really only gives orders because she's told to give orders, kind of in a way.
She's kind of a pushover.
Yeah, she gets. I mean, the one time that she, like the most prominent that she's in there, she gets like tackled by Finn and like, yeah, you're gonna do this thing and you're gonna disable this shield. And she just kind of does it, and then you don't know what happens because they make the joke about throwing her down the trash compactor and all that kind of stuff, and then you never see her again.
I thought she had a plan, like for them to say turn off the shield, and she's like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Oh, she's got something planned."
Me too. I was like, "Well, she's calling reinforcements. They just can't tell."
Yeah. And I really wanted to see the scene when she said to Finn, "I want to check your blaster," and I was like, "Oh man, we're gonna have the scene in the office where she's like, I can tell this hasn't been fired. Oh no, what's gonna happen?" I really wanted to see that scene.
Yeah.
Then things went crazy.
All right, so we covered Phasma, covered Snoke. What about that other guy, the guy that was always ratting on Kylo? You guys remember his name?
Yeah, the guy that's kind of like Tarkin in the other movies. His name was right on it starts with an H. I keep wanting to say Hux, but I don't think that's right.
It is Huck.
Is it Huck?
Yeah, it's Huck or something like that. Because they said Huck's even gone. Remember when the guy's like, get out of here?
Oh, really?
He said, go back to your post. He's like, even Huck's gone, right?
It's something like that.
Something like that. he was a big old whiny baby. I didn't like him.
Right.
Kylo said we didn't need the robot. If
yeah, there's very much like this. What I do like that it seems like they're almost equal, and so you've got these two guys that are like vying for Snoke's attention, like I did the good thing, or whatever. I like that arc to see how they're gonna go, because you've got Kylo that's doing all the Forcey stuff, and then you've got this other guy who thinks he's like this big military power and he can just guide all these troops. And you saw at one point that so when Finn defects or flies off with Poe, and then they kind of are determining who he was, and then later on you see in Kylo. They're kind of arguing, him and Hux or whatever his name is.
Yeah, maybe we need to go back to a clone army.
Yeah, it's like, maybe we do need a clone army. He goes, no, my men are just as good. So you can kind of infer from that Supreme Leader Snoke, said, is making all these plans or whatever. He brings these two guys up, and then Hux or whatever is kind of like, no, let's have a real army. Let's not screw it over like the Empire did and have all these clones or whatever. And so you get the feeling that all of this military part is like under his wing, and he's feeling that pressure. And he's like, we've got to perform and all this kind of stuff. Whereas Kylo is kind of like, he's interested in like, yeah, y'all do the stuff that I need. But really, he's like, I'm powerful enough. I don't really care. I'm just going to do my thing.
He definitely had his own agenda.
Yes.
His own agenda. And I love when they were talking the one time, the guy goes, easy, Ren, blah, 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 blah. Let's not forget, he kind of backs him down. I was like, I love that he's not that Kylo was not the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's a kid.
Yeah.
He's 20-something like we talked about. Why should he be in charge?
I mean, considering they're called stormtroopers, there's already enough of that Nazi throwback, but how almost Nazi sign did they all throw?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, snap.
And I have heard some criticism from some people online, again, that I've been reading and watching. Some people didn't really like the act. They, like, out of all the casting, they're like, oh, everybody was casted so well, and some people think that he was a bit of a weak link, the Hux guy, that he wasn't, he looks too young for his role as some things.
He definitely was young.
But I thought he did good. Like, when he was giving that speech, like, I believed him. I believe, like, this dude is, like, rallying the troops. If I were in there, I'd have been going, like, yeah, that's right. Shoot this thing.
That's the only thing I didn't like about that speech. It's funny that you say that, because I felt like he hit, like, where you would count, like, an applause break or for people to agree, and nobody did.
Yeah.
This thing that you built that we stand on today.
Yeah, the reaction was a hair delayed, but I just mean like his delivery of it. Like zooms in on his face, and you can see like his eyes. He looks like they're just glazing over with evil. That I liked. I liked all that part.
Yeah.
Is this true? I heard Daniel Craig's one of the stormtroopers.
I heard he was the one that drops his gun.
When was that?
I don't know.
When she says you will drop your gun.
Yeah,
on the way out.
The one that she changed his mind.
That was awesome. That was so good. I love that you could tell that she had done her homework. Like, well, if I can use the Force, this is how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
You will unlock me, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I will tighten those things.
Yeah. You know what? That just reminded me earlier, Gabe, you mentioned how JJ is so good at the quiet moments. When she's sitting on the ground and she has that helmet and just puts the helmet on, and that's just a beautiful scene. So
great. And she's chewing that thing, and she kind of smiles, and she's just kind of looking around with that helmet on. It's too big for her head. That was perfect. You're so right. That was a perfect scene.
Yeah. That was cool.
Not much to say about Leia, but Leia was there. And
kind of like Remy. Remy's still there.
Just like Remy.
Leia's still here.
And so Leia was there. Her entrance was, you could feel it coming, when he's kind of peeking around people.
Yeah.
And she was great. She held it down. Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, I think she did fine. She definitely, her voice sounds like, she smoked a lot of cigarettes. Yeah. That's the one thing that is like, man, I kind of wish, because the way she looks, of her, whether she, being the older version of her and everything, that's fine. I don't have any problems with that.
Of course, she's going to be older.
Yeah,
of course.
I just, whenever people develop that like really raspy smoker voice, I'm just kind of like, man, don't you wish you wouldn't have made those decisions? But,
yeah. No, but, I felt like Harrison was like, you changed your hair, and she's like, same jacket. You're like,
right. Like, why is your voice deeper than Kylo Ren's?
Yeah, definitely deeper than her son's voice. but I felt like she did what she needed to do and was the person that she needed to be.
Yeah.
And I don't think a bunch was not expected of her, but I don't know if a bunch was like required of her.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like she threw the looks when she needed to throw the look and seemed worried when she seemed to be worried. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's not gonna be, nominated for anything, but I felt like she did her thing. She needed to be the glue at certain points. It was the glue.
Yeah, she did. The scene where Han dies and she senses it. That was handled, like she didn't just like fall to the ground and sob crazily. Mm-hmm. That was done really well. I liked how she handled that.
And I feel like if Lucas had done it, she would have.
Yeah. My baby.
Yeah.
And you have to give it up to her. I was telling somebody after I saw the movie the second time that the movie, so Star Wars needs a bit of campiness in it to be Star Wars, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But then also in its campiness, it has to believe itself.
Yeah.
For it to come across right. And I was telling them, now Leia might not have done a bunch, but she's the one that has to deliver the "May the Force be with you" line. Mm-hmm. And you have to believe that line for it to not come across awful.
Yeah.
And I feel like she delivered it enough to where you were like, yeah, okay, there it was. Let the Force be with you. We got past that. It didn't come across like crazy. I love that BB-8 stayed and R2-D2 went on the trip, right after that with Rey. I thought that was cool, and Chewie. And I tell you what, man, they really, I don't know what it is. Going back to Rey and Han, man, Han knowing who she is and them saying stuff at the same time a bunch of times. I don't know what that's supposed to tell us.
Wait, say that again.
You remember when they were talking in the ship and they kept saying the same sentence together? Oh,
yeah.
To me, it was just, boy, they both know a lot about technical stuff.
I know. I wish if it was anybody but J.J. Abrams, I might chalk it up to that.
Yeah, see, I don't know whether that's something to read into or not.
But they do it like 4 times.
Yeah, it happens a lot. But then later on, he walks up to her and he's like, you seem to know your stuff. I think I want to have you on my crew. Like, you could chalk it up to, he was just super impressed that she knew the same kind of answers that he did and everything. Like, all right, well, then I want this chick on my side because she knows her stuff. You could take it that way, or you could take it that he knows who she is because Ma says, like, who's the girl? And
like, it just feels like he knows her. Here, take this gun. I think I can handle myself. I know you do. That's why I'm giving you the gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like the little stuff of like, I know, stop. I know you. Stop it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
didn't seem like he didn't have familiarity in his eyes when he saw her down in the hatch, like when they first came on.
Yeah.
So that kind of sends me off the scent. But just the fact that I don't know, they just made them seem a little closer than two people that just randomly met in the galaxy.
Well, see, if y'all want to talk just like nerdy theory crap, one of the theories out there about
starting that?
Yeah. One of the theories kind of out there that lends to that, yes, that she is Luke's son, or excuse me, daughter.
Yikes, she is a good-looking boy.
Yeah. The thing is that they're saying, okay, well, so that's Luke's daughter, and Luke was training her and Ben as well as the other people. And then, Ben flips sides, Ben kills all of the people, but somehow she is like taken away and like in secret.
Yeah.
And gotten away from Ben. And then, I don't know, like maybe her mind was erased or something to like help protect her. Kind of the way that Luke and Leia were split up and taken away without Vader knowing about it. But the thing is like, okay, if that's the case, if that's what happened, where the theory breaks down is like, Ben would have somehow recognized her or been able to sense that this is her or something. He would have known one of them got away.
Yeah.
And so that's where that kind of falls apart. But if something like that's the case, you could see like, oh, well, then Han would know that there's a
what's interesting about that is if we're going down the loop is her father thing. The way I pictured it was Luke starts this school. Ben is older than Rey in my head.
Yeah.
Like by like 4 years, let's just say. And so he's training Ben. Rey's at home. Ben flips, kills everybody and bounces, and Luke no longer trusts himself to take care of her because he knows that she's stronger than he is. If I jack up with her the way I jacked up with him, I've got to, I can't do this anymore. So he drops her off with the fat guy that she's been trading stuff for food with and leaves on Jakku. But she just seemed too old to not know the people around her in that scene where she's like, don't leave me. She seems like 11.
Well, and she also, that doesn't seem like the type of, like, it seems like a really bad situation on Jakku to be just dropping her off on. Like, you know, when Luke and Leia were gone, like, they went to family and they were very carefully, like, sent and like, okay, you're going to take care of these people. That girl just looked like she was just like, you stay with this weird looking fat dude and I'm up out. You know, it didn't seem like there was any care to it. And I feel like if Luke was abandoning his daughter, even if it was to save her, he would have put her in a little bit nicer place or with people that actually care for her or something. I don't know.
And I agree with that. It just seemed like the way that Leia said, or the way that Han said when the thing with Ben went down, he walked away from everything. I was like, yeah, but would he drop his daughter off just like that? You know, I was like, man, I mean, it is a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I can't remember what it was exactly that was said, but I, for some reason, got the impression when Kylo was trying to use his force on her that they knew each other. And I don't know why I got that impression after that. And I don't remember what they said that made me think that, but something made me think, oh, they've met before. And I don't know why I thought that.
The only thing that made me feel like Kylo might have been known her a little bit was the fact that he didn't seem surprised that she was able to combat what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When he's complaining to Snoke and he's like, the force is strong with her even more than it is with me. She just doesn't know her.
I don't agree with that. I feel like when he was over there like trying to read her mind, he was very confident, like, I'm going to get this map out of your brain. And he's over here doing all this stuff. And then she says, like, you're afraid. I thought he looked, and there were a few times even before she says that line where you could see in his eyes that he's like, holy crap, this isn't working, but I got to keep acting like it's working. It's going to work. Right. I felt like he was very taken aback, like, it didn't work, and then stormed out.
Taken aback by her power.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem like to me. It didn't seem like he didn't know that could have happened.
Yeah, I felt like he would have at least, if he didn't know it, I felt like he would have at least said, "What is happening?" or something like that.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this force is so strong with her, but maybe it does cut in the middle of his sentence when he's complaining that it's strong with her. You know, stronger than it is with me. You know what I mean? You're like, sheesh, Louise, like. It's kind of like the whole mutants come into their powers thing in times of duress. You know what I mean? When under duress, and it seemed like that's what happened. And she was like, and he's like, dang it happened. We got to find her because she's going to get stronger and stronger. You know what I mean?
The one other thing, like backing up a little bit about if they were both at the academy, or if it's more like your scenario where like, oh, it's like she's younger, because you have to think it had to have been somewhat close to the age of when she got dropped off if this scenario is to be believed. But the thing is that, so I'm feeling like Kylo Ren was a lot older when he left, like when he betrayed Luke. Like, I don't think he was young, like even 10 or 15 or whatever. No, like, I think he was a lot older because, he's the master of the Knights of Ren. So, like, he's the leader of this group of people that, and then in that one part in the dream, you see him like killing people, and the thought is that they're hunting down Jedi. So, like, I don't know if those are other people that were in the team that Luke was training and he converted them. I don't know about all that, but he had to have been pretty old to be able to go and kill other people and like create and have all these other people with him. So I feel like she would have been, I don't know, maybe she was like way younger than him.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know, man.
All right. So who else is there to talk about before we get to old Luke himself?
Nobody?
Nobody.
We could talk about Nine Nub, old Fold Face, and how.
Yeah, exactly. It was good seeing him. I felt like I was watching the cast from like Star Fox for some reason when they were like getting the band back together to fly through. I was like, oh, this reminds me of Star Fox. So Luke, the one thing I did know was that that Mark Hamill was in the movie.
Yes.
And that we hadn't seen him in any previews.
Yeah.
I know I hadn't because I only watched 2, but just from talking to other people,
he's
like,
not in any of the marketing.
Yet.
Yeah, he's not in any of it.
You had the feeling that he was probably going to show up late. I don't know if I thought he was going to show up that late.
Yeah.
But obviously they track him down. The map is complete using both BB-8 and R2D2, who was in ultra power saving mode. I guess searching the database. I don't know what he was doing. In my mind, that's what he was doing.
It's not any constellation we've ever seen. Oh, how about this one with the big shape shaped exactly like it? How about that map?
Right. Just look for the one with the hole in it. That's like this Tetris piece. And so she obviously goes, finds him, walks up this long mountain, a lot of cool shots, and just holds out the lightsaber. And I tell you what, man, I was pleasantly surprised at Mark Hamill's appearance. I don't know what that's saying, but like he looked good with the beard. He looked worn. I felt like he was delivering the eyes. Obviously, he didn't say anything, but I felt like he delivered that thing for that being so long. Because when they stare back and forth for like 45 seconds.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Before like the thing starts circling around him. And you're like, and you kind of get that like, oh, shoot. You know what I'm saying? You see him take off the hood, one robot hand. Speaking of, why did he seem so short when he had his hand on R2D2 in the flashbacks? I'm figuring he's kneeling down, but he looked like a child next to R2D2 in that flashback.
I always just took that he was just kneeling down or sitting in some sort. I didn't think it was too odd. I mean, he's always been, like, even in the original cast, like, he was always the shortest of them. I think he's even shorter than Leia, or not very much taller than Leia, so...
And then do you think he was giving him the map?
I don't think he was. I've heard people say that, because... So you're talking about the map where they had the hole in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he got that from the Death Star.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, he got it from the Death Star because... Well, I don't know if
but what do you give telepathically to a robot?
I don't think he gave anything telepathically. I think he was just on that island, or wherever he was, and he was just, like, bonding with R2, just like, because he's off on his own, and I think he was just, like, putting his hand on him, like, oh, my faithful droid kind of thing. I don't think he was doing something. Because he's not like, oh, my gosh, yeah, there you go, got that little thing inside your belly.
It seemed like such an obvious, like, touch that I was like, what's he doing? Like, you know what I mean?
I just looked at it like he had split. Now, why R2's with him, and then R2's not with him? Like, did he send R2 away at some point? But I just saw it as just a moment like he's already gone off on this trip to be in isolation, but for some reason R2's with him, and I don't know, maybe that was the moment he was saying, like, oh my gosh, buddy, you're going to have to go back too, or something. I don't know. That's the way I took it.
Yeah. All right, so Eddie, what did you think about the reveal of old Luke Skywalker?
I really was nervous because as amazing as he is doing the Joker in the games and the voices in the cartoons,
Batman, yeah,
I really didn't want him to start acting. Because I think of the first 3 films, I'm like, okay, yeah, good, yeah.
But he's got to be way better than that now.
Exactly, yeah. But no, I thought it was great. I liked it. They just kind of left it the way they did, and he didn't say anything. He just kind of, I thought they did a good job with that. I liked it. Chris?
I feel like he should have said something. Maybe not said something, but he should have.
What did you want him to say?
I don't know, and I'm not even saying that he should have said something, but even like when he turns. So okay, let's see. If the theory that's his daughter. He should have turned around, and when he was seeing her and looking at her, he should have had like a bit of a crack, like just a little bit of a smile or something. There should have been something like, because he had to have known. I mean, there was this map that exists. The part was in 2 pieces. I mean, He has to know the map existed and that sometimes somebody was going to come to him. It had to have been either a look of complete, not complete, but like maybe a little bit of dread, like, well, it's finally happening. I got to continue on. Or happiness, like, all right, I'm ready to take the next step, or something. There needed to be something more there.
But don't you think that he would know that if anybody found him on that island, that it's bad news?
No, not necessarily.
And I mean, he's gonna feel.
I don't even think that it's bad news that he's been found. I think it's good.
Dead.
No, I don't think any of that means that Han is dead. Like, he may know because, he's got the Force and can feel, senses all this crap. I don't know how far away in the galaxy he is and how far the Force reaches, but I don't think that. I think he knew at some point in time somebody's going to come out to me And so that tells me that he should have, maybe he didn't have to say anything. Maybe like words didn't have to be there, but like either a slight look of despair. And I'm not talking like overdoing it, or just like a slight smile, especially if that is his daughter. He would probably be happy to see her again. I don't know, something.
He might not have been paying child support for a long time, and he was a little worried.
We don't even know who Luke baby mama is.
All right, so on that same vein, we'll go down the line because I have something. But Chris, was there something as you watched that you thought was going to happen, or about to happen, or was hoping that was going to happen and that didn't?
No, not really.
He'd already read everything.
No, I mean, there were things like whenever I watch a movie, and I don't intentionally do this, but there are some times in some movies where like I feel like I'm heavily invested in the lore or the story or whatever. My mind will kind of jump ahead and try to make up like maybe this is gonna happen, maybe this, and like I'm not trying to do it, but it just does it.
Right, of course.
And so like when Han went out there on the catwalk to meet up with old Ben.
Yeah, the catwalk.
Yeah, I thought like maybe like before he got all the way out there and I knew they were going to like hand over the lightsaber and all that kind of crazy crap. It's like maybe Luke will show up there and he'll say something or something will happen there. I thought maybe that would happen.
To say something is what you're getting at.
Well, no, I knew somebody was going to die, but I was thinking it was going to be Luke would die. And so I thought he would show up there.
Really?
I thought Luke was going to get killed or die of some other reason. I thought he was going to end up be the one that got killed back when I knew that they were all three going to be in the movie.
Wow.
I knew it was going to be either him or Han, or I didn't know, but I assumed it was going to be him or Han are going to die. I didn't think Leia would die. At least not be killed in action kind of thing.
Do you think she's important enough to die? Ooh,
yeah, well,
that's
the other thing that, I mean, I don't want to deviate too much because you're going down the line asking us all questions, so if you want to ask Mr. Ed, and then I can come back to what I was going to say.
All right, Ed, was there anything you thought was like on the cusp of happening?
Yeah, I thought for sure when Kylo and Rey were fighting each other in the snow, having their little sword fight, and the saber flies and lands in the snow, and Kylo, I thought for sure it was going to be Luke on the other end.
Yes.
Going to pull the saber and save the day.
Yeah, that was another time that I was like, maybe this is where Luke shows up. I did think that too.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. My one thing, this is really stupid, so just deal with me because you love me. So at that fight, I know the earth is falling apart around them, but when they get separated so purposefully, when she knocks him down and then the earth breaks and it separates them out, I knew that Luke did that. Like in my head, I was like, oh shoot. He's going to tell him that family shouldn't fight like this because he knows. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to fight my dad. I don't want any of my family having to fight each other. And I thought he was the one that separate, because it was just such perfect timing.
Yeah.
That knocks him down and then the earth separates. I was like, oh, that's Luke with freaking huge Jedi powers coming through to save Kylo, because there's no reason that this girl should kill her cousin or her brother or whatever. Oh. I just knew I knew he was showing up. All right, Chris, what were you going to say about that?
Well, real quick to go to your question, the one thing that I did think before the movie ever came out is I felt fairly certain. I was like, Kylo's going to die. They're going to kill him.
Really?
And I was not wanting that to be the case, but I was like, there's going to have to screw up something. They're going to kill off Kylo. It's going to be like Darth Maul all over again. It's going to be like, this guy's so cool. Oh, there he's dead.
God, yeah,
but exactly. It wasn't. So before the movie, that was one thing that I kind of thought. But
so what were we gonna say? I didn't mean. By the way, I'm not saying that Leia is not important, but it seems like for her to die, wouldn't it evoke the same emotion as Han dying?
Yeah.
What were you about to say to that?
Well, no, I was gonna say that before the movie came out, like, because I knew they were gonna have to set up all this stuff, and I know it's a trilogy, and in some way or another, not everything's going to be answered and blah, blah, blah. But I fully expected that Luke, Leia, and Han would all be in it. I knew Luke would be in it the least amount just because he was in the marketing, or I just had a feeling that he was going to be in it the least amount. But I thought they would all be in it in a way that then we wouldn't see them again. Like, this would be their send-off. And whatever that was, like, I figured one of them was going to die. I thought it might be Luke or Han. And then, Han did die. And I thought Leia would probably still live, but there'd be something to be like, and now I have to retire back to Naboo or something or somewhere. I felt like, because, okay, now you look at it like, okay, we've got another movie in 2 more years that we've got to have Luke Skywalker and we've got to have Leia. It's like, at some point, we need to just kill them off, or they need to go away. They need to not be part of the story anymore. There needs to be some change. Well, because they can't physically keep doing it, and I don't want to want Mark Hamill to die in 6 months, and then we're gonna have like, well, in episode 8 we've got CG Mark Hamill. It's like, I don't want that crap. Get rid of him. Yeah. Kill him off. Do it gracefully. Let him go into just disappear like Yoda did. I don't care. Get rid of him. Make him go away. This needs to be the new generation, the new story going forward. So I really thought they were going to be in this movie simply to, put the period on their part of the story and move on. And when that didn't happen, I was kind of like,
Luke's too important?
No, he is. But I thought, like, whatever he was, like, I was thinking, okay, I knew Rey was going to be a bigger deal than it seemed in the movie. Because
of course.
That was something that got spoiled for me. And I was like, okay, so maybe he shows up early and kind of starts training her. And I'm like, he's not going to train her fully, but like maybe he's going to train her to do something, and then he's going to die and be like, okay, and she'll just continue it on or something. I was like, I just thought he would be in the last, like you split the movie in thirds. I was like, he'll be in the last third of the movie and have a pretty significant part, but that's be the only part he is, and he's going to either die or go away or turn into a Force ghost, or something's going to happen, and he's going to be done. And then if he's the one that does that, Han's probably not going to die. So maybe, I don't know, maybe him and Leia go off in the sunset too. I don't know. I mean, those are stupid things. But it's like, I thought we've got to put the period on their part of the story, and they've got to go away. Not just because they're getting to the point where they can't physically do this stuff anymore, but we need to see the new generation, and it needs to move forward. It needs to stop going back to, but the old 3PO. It's like they need to just go away. They had their time, and they need to be replaced.
I loved seeing,
and I love them. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm not saying that. And I loved how like 3PO and R2D2, they were in the movies, but they were in it in a way that felt like where you were like, yeah, there they are. Not in like in the prequels. It was like, now R2's got jetpacks coming out of his legs, and it's like, well, where the hell did he get that? Why didn't he have jetpacks in so many other situations when they were screwed?
Yeah.
Like in the prequels, it's like they were there just to be there. And it's like, no. And here it felt like they were there the right amount and when they needed to be. And you wanted to see them. You're like, oh, there they are. Cool. Now BB-8.
Yeah. All right, Ed. Closing comments on it, brother.
I already like the new cast way better than Luke. I was never a fan of Luke to begin with. So if they can just pass that torch and keep going with this new fun bunch, I'm good to go. No, I really liked it. I had heard from pretty much everyone that it was a really good movie, and I really enjoyed it. It was very refreshing to be able to enjoy Star Wars again. So it was nice.
Nice. Chris, you got any more to add?
I'm very, very happy with what we were given. I'm very excited. I mean, it left me with tons of questions, and I want more now. So that's all I could really ask for.
Yeah.
It's not like when I left the theater and I saw Phantom Menace, I was like, wow, yeah, man, that was good. Right? Yeah, that was good. And on R2, I mean, pod racing, that was kind of cool, right? That was good. And then, after the second and third viewing, you're just like, I don't think this is good.
Yeah. They got me. I've been roping dope. That's so funny.
What about you, Gabe?
I will say that as I've gotten older and everything, like I like the prequels more than I did originally, but I don't.
Yeah.
Like they're still like, you watch it and everything, you're like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For me, I mean, it's the same thing that you guys are saying. I'm so happy that JJ got to do it. He's who I would have begged to do it if when they first announced that they were going to do 7. I was like, please let it be JJ. Please let him not be too busy to do it. I know he just did Star Trek, but please do Star Wars. And we got JJ, and I feel like JJ freaking delivered, man. I wanted to stay in the Bad Robot family just because he is so good. And I see that he's passing the helm on Star Trek too. It's still Bad Robot, but it's Jeremy Lin. Is that the guy's name? The director?
I've heard the names, but I'm not sure because there's the interim movies that are not the big chapter movies that are going to be happening, and I've heard all these names. And I was like, so I don't know who's directing which ones and whatever.
Yeah. So it was definitely like I left the theater surprisingly enough. Number one, I thought it lived up to the hype, which I think nothing ever really does. It seems like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every now and then someone will come across The Last of Us. I feel like lived up to the hype. PT, I feel like was scary as crap and lived up to the hype. Lara Croft, I don't know if it had as much hype, but it lived up to what I thought it was going to be. And Star Wars, I had like this phenomenal expectation for. And I left the theater and somebody was asking me what I thought, and I was like, I'm really satisfied. Like, I don't really need to see any more right now, besides the fact that you just want to see the story continue.
Yeah.
But I was like, they did it. Like, he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did it well. And of course, people can complain. It's the internet. People always complain. They complain about water. They complain about oxygen. Like,
water's too dang wet. I tell you.
Exactly. Water feels like it's getting wetter than it used to be. I freaking can't stand wet water. So I just feel like totally content. And I'm like, yes. And I feel like they did so many callbacks that I didn't think they didn't take themselves too serious, but serious enough that it knocked my socks off. I thought it was awesome. And I was like, I never go to the movies and then wait a day and go back to the movies.
Yeah.
Ever.
I don't go to the movies. I don't like the theater.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. You're like,
so I've got to be really interested in the movie just to get me into the theater. And now I've been twice, and I'm already I'm thinking about when am I going to go again. So that'll probably be it. I will say that after 3, I think I'll be done. I'll be good unless it's something stupid where it's like, this is doing so great, we're going to run it in the theaters for 8 months. It's like, oh god. Then I may go see it again. But
with a notepad, take a notepad next time.
Yeah.
Take notes so we can do this again.
No, I'm just going to sit there with my phone and be like, No, I'm scratching my chest.
Is this something you'll buy right away, or is it something that you'll wait for all 3 to come out and get the?
No, I mean, it's on iTunes right now to pre-order, and I just haven't pulled the trigger, but I probably will.
Edward?
We will probably wait until all 3 come out. But yeah, and I do have to say, as we were watching the previews before the movie, Sarah turned to me and she said, so these superhero movies have run out of villains and now they're just fighting each other?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Captain America and Batman. I was like, what?
Right.
Man, dang it. I don't know about this Independence Day either, y'all.
I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm good.
I would have needed Will to come back to do.
I like that Jeff Goldblum's there, but then all the rest of it just feels like, what is going on again?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man.
Are you gonna buy it when it comes out, Gabe?
I'll probably wait for all 3 too.
Yeah,
just wait instead of because then they're gonna come out with something that's got a bunch of background. I don't want to have to buy it twice.
Right. I want as many bonus features as I can get. That's really what I'm.
I will say that I'm probably gonna buy it twice. I like having the digital copies. I like digital of things, but I feel like this is a movie where I'm gonna want to watch extras, and the extras that come along with digital, it's not as much. It's
not
just
as good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not as much there. So I'll probably will end up buying the Blu-ray as well, but just for that. Or if a friend of mine gets it, maybe I'll borrow it, and maybe that'll satiate me enough. Because I probably won't ever watch it after that. But the extras, anyways.
Well, this is us, y'all. Married to the Games YouTube team. Chris, Ed, and Gabe. Spoiling Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Such a great name for such a great movie. Ali, I love this thing. Go see it if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're watching this.
Yeah, because they wanted to know everything like I did.
People are just getting fodder to get angry about.
Exactly.
They're like, whenever it's done, these fingers are going to type so many comments.
Exactly. Well, we appreciate you guys watching, man. Go check out the other video. This is our first time talking about a movie. We're a video game channel, but we might do this some more, review some games or something like this. It's been a good time. Thank you guys for stopping by. We appreciate y'all. Married to the Games YouTube channel. Peace.